Good morning from my new place in Boise. This is going to be the first episode in my new house. There will most certainly be an echo today. I don't have this place fully set up, and it's got all hardwood floors. There's not an ounce of carpet in this entire house. And so we have to go buy a lot of carpet, particularly for this room. And I'm actually kind of thinking maybe I'll actually set up like a miniature podcast studio with sound dampeners and stuff. But anyways, a funny story about getting moved this week. So I wake up on the 21st, which was Wednesday, my move date. Now, I had been telling everybody in my life for like weeks that I am moving. I would say it exactly like this. I am moving Thursday the 21st for weeks, and not a single person in my life ever thought, hey, I should correct Michael. Everyone just assumed, because of my personality, that I would be on top of it, that I knew what I was talking about, yada, yada, yada. My mom and my sister even had an argument about whether I was moving on Wednesday or Thursday the 21st, and then went back and forth the day before on the 20th. And neither one thought, hey, maybe we should call Michael. Maybe he's confused, or maybe we should just get some clarification. No, they didn't. So I wake up on the 21st. I boot up my Xbox. I boot up Arcade Paradise on my computer. And I'm getting some daily quests in. And I'm like, all right, I'm drinking my cup of coffee. I finished both of these. I turn them off, and it's just about time for me to start work. So I open up my work laptop, get signed in, enjoying the start of my second cup of coffee, and I open up my calendar to see what meetings I have for the day, and it's all blocked out. And that it says that I am supposed to be out of office. I'm like, well, why would it say that? I picked the day I'm moving and the day after as my move days. Why would I have this blocked out? And then I'm like, hold up here. And then my brain starts to fully wake up, and then I see that it is the 21st today, Wednesday. And I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And so now I'm panicking because I have had a whole less day to finish packing and cleaning my apartment and packing up the car, right, with the last bits of items. And now I'm like looking around. Thankfully, I just had one room left. But if I had realized that Wednesday was my move date, I would have taken Tuesday very differently. First of all, I wouldn't have dinked around playing video games for 2 hours or an hour and a half in the afternoon. And second of all, I would have adjusted my plans because there were like two places that I really wanted to visit one more time before I left, and that was my plan the night before. Didn't happen. So anyways, now I'm panicking Wednesday morning, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I realize, oh, I told the landlord that I was going to be there at 10:30 to pick up the keys. It's almost 6 hours away. And it's currently almost 8 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, and that would be 9 o'clock in Boise. So I'm like, oh crap. So then I'm calling him, rescheduling. Then I have to start and I go down this whole list of people I have to call and reschedule with, and I had to like check in with the people who are gonna help me move in. I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm actually moving on the 21st today. I will be there tonight, not tomorrow. Okay, kept saying Thursday, and one of them even checked in with me earlier that week. He's like, hey, I just want to confirm what day, and I'm like, Thursday. And he's like, all right, cool. No, neither of them noticed that I said Thursday the 21st and said anything to me. So it was just a mess all the way down of confusion on this date. And thankfully the moving guys were still able to help me on Wednesday. They're buddies of mine. Thankfully, the landlord was actually happy to meet with me later in the day instead of 10:30. And it kind of worked out, and my mom stepped up and said she'll finish cleaning the living room. So I packed up my car, ate breakfast real quick, and I started driving down here. I didn't manage to get down here until about 5 o'clock. So like 8 hours after I was intending on actually being down here, which sucks. So I lost like pretty much a whole day in getting to unpack. which is really unfortunate. But on the other hand, it's kind of okay that I missed that whole day because pretty much all of my shelving doesn't get here until Sunday when Faith gets here. My bookshelves, the shelves for the games, all of it is on her trailer. And so at this moment, I just have piles of books in one corner. I have the ridiculous pile of board games in another corner. My like display shelf items stacked in another corner. It's kind of a mess, and it's not what I like, and I really wish I could make some progress, but there's not really any progress I can make until those shelving units actually get here. So I got as far as I can, and now I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs, and I really don't like that. I'm sitting surrounded by unpacked and partially unpacked boxes, and it's stressful. It's very stressful. The benefit is because I had to slow down on the unpacking process, I didn't have as much time on the packing process where I wanted to go through all this paperwork that I've been carrying around for years and clothes that I've had in my closet that I haven't worn in a while because of a little bit of weight gain. Now I can go through those, but it's still a bit stressful because I don't know, I'd rather just, get stuff on shelves and figure it out there from there, but it is what it is. So, in moving somewhere, there's always that period of trying to get adjusted when moving in, and especially to a fully brand new, like a whole new city, right? Like finding a new doctor, a new dentist, a new grocery store, etc. But top of that list for me is finding a good coffee place. And I thought I would try one that's I think might be one of the closest small, like non-corporate coffee joints near me. And you know what? I thought it'd be a little experimental. So I ordered something called the Highway 55 Blossom. Definitely outside of my wheelhouse, but I was like, this might be pretty good. And I was talking to the barista about it, and she was ranting and raving about it. And she said, "Oh, she wishes more people would order it." And I was like, "Ooh, you're setting up high expectations." And she's like, "Oh, I don't mean to do that." Yeah, she knew what she was doing. I can't believe she didn't correct me. That was messed up. So, what I ordered, this Highway 55 Blossom, is and this is the description for it: uplifting organic Guatemala cold brew infused with bright orange flavor, topped with silky rose cold foam and a dusting of rose petal powder and a dehydrated orange slice. Let me tell you what. This thing was foul. I mean, disgusting. I am a person who, mentally am incapable of ever wasting food. It doesn't matter how bad it is, I'm going to eat it if I ordered and paid for it, right? Or if anyone else ordered and paid for it for me. I will choke that shit down. There's only one food item in this entire planet that I don't like, so I'm fully capable of doing it, and it has been an issue since childhood. Thank you, great-grandmother, for instilling this do not waste food mentality. Regardless, or not regardless, resuming the story, I tried to drink this coffee, right? It was especially because it was my first morning in this house, and I didn't have any water to make coffee at home, so I was like, I gotta run out, buy some coffee, buy some water and stuff to make my own coffee, but on my way I might as well just get this first coffee, right? Try it out. And so I haven't had any caffeine. I haven't had any food. It's just a rough morning because I got half my shit here and I'm a quarter of the way moved in. And I order this coffee and I take a sip, and I'm not kidding you. It touches my tongue and I am gagging. And I'm like, oh, that's bad. That's like actually really bad. And I'm like, oh, I gotta force myself to drink it, Like I bitched about it. All right, now drink it because I paid, almost $6 for this coffee. I'm gonna drink it. And I take another sip, immediately, involuntarily gagging, driving down the highway. I'm like, okay, I think this. I don't think I can actually drink this. Like this is quite literally undrinkable. What the hell is going on with this? And I like kept like it must have been 4 or 5 times that I would keep on like take a little sip and gag, and I hated it. And it was I was so bummed because first of all, paying $6 for coffee, and I'm exhausted and hungry, and this is where I'm at. It was not a good start to my first morning, and I was very sad to have to dump out a $6 cup of coffee. It made me not want to branch out again. Stick with more basic drinks like I usually go with. So unfortunate. And another first, I had my first day actually working in office. So I've been working for this new company for about 6 weeks, and now I had my first day in the office, which the Friday before a holiday is a crazy day to have your first day in the office because no one is there. It is empty. It's kind of very like low key though, like no stress. You don't have to meet as many people, which is good because I had to get a tour of the whole corporate headquarters, and I was meeting everyone, and I was like, I'm not gonna remember anyone's name. God forbid if it was full staff today, but it was kind of a skeleton crew. But I bring this up because there's this like awkwardness that I had to experience where, and anyone, if you're new to a job or, you've been fully remote and now you're suddenly going in the office or something, there's this awkwardness where you get an invitation, for somebody or a group of people's going away from the company, and it's like a week or two after you start, and you don't know anyone. You couldn't pick them out of a lineup, right? And here you are being invited to their going away party, and it's just awkward. It's because you don't know who they are, but you're obligated to go because you now sit, at least for the next 2 weeks, literally next to them. You could reach out and touch them. So obviously you're going to meet them enough to go, oh, hey, how's it going in the hallway? But then now in 2 weeks, I got to say goodbye to you. Like I'm a pretty social guy, but I gotta say I don't love this unique situation. I'm gonna go because A, it would be rude not to, and B, it's there's gonna be lots of drinks there, so that will ease the tension or awkwardness of not actually knowing them. And who knows, maybe I'll think around in the next 2 weeks at work that I'll actually get to know them pretty well and it won't be so awkward. We'll see. Me personally, I would like. I would prefer not to have that fanfare if I was going away. I just like to sneak off like a thief in the night. Peace out. That's how I like to leave a job. I don't want a going away dinner or lunch or whatever. I just want to quietly pack my cubicle and see you never. So I had 2 interactions this week since moving here that I haven't been able to get out of my head. I just keep thinking about it. And the first one was with my landlord. I noticed the drip pans for the oven or for the stove are missing. It's like sits underneath the burners and it catches like the liquid or whatever. And they're usually made out of tin or some kind of metal like that. And they not only do they sit underneath there for the purposes of collecting spillage, but they're also what supports the burners so you can actually use the oven. Well, my landlord did not replace these, and so there's just none. And so all the burners are just like hanging down, and you can't actually use them. So I was like, it was the first morning he had come back to do some work on the house, and I'm like, hey man, these are missing, and I was just wondering if you could get them replaced, and so that because need them for cooking or whatever. And he goes, well, do you think that's really a necessity? I mean, we could look into it if you think that's a necessity, and I could kind of make a decision. And I'm sitting there like, do you ever cook? Like, if you ever used a stove, you would know that you have to have drip pans to hold the burners in place so you can use the stove. So we had a whole conversation about, and he's a talker. And so it was more him talking at me about how he's not really sure it's a necessity, and that the last people that lived here never had one, and they seem to have used the stove just fine. And I'm like, I highly doubt that, because that means they wouldn't have been able to use the stove. And I was like, this is too early to rock the boat. I can tell that there's probably going to be conflict in the future. Just based off of some early interactions with him. And so I'm like trying to pick my battles. I'm like, this is $20 for like a good set. I'll just buy it myself. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I left. But I'm like, that interaction just sticks out for days now, because I'm just like, he has to have he either has no idea what I was actually talking about, or B, he has to have never cooked or hasn't cooked in years to not know the necessity of a drip pan underneath oven burners or stove burners. It baffles me. I'm so genuinely confused by it. And now this other interaction I had was where some people I knew from college have a group chat, and I had found out that they were sharing some of my cooking videos in it, and that the frequency at which I use mayo on my hot dog cooking videos has been discussed a few times. Putting it lightly. As I understand it, made a bit of a joke. And I was expecting that. I, for the longest time, knew that like putting mayo on my hot dogs is going to I was expecting that to be the biggest ridicule I got on any of my cooking videos. And it turns out to be the second one. The biggest ridicule I actually get is the angles at which I am shooting the cooking videos. And the problem with that is that I'm dealing with extremely limited, was dealing with extremely limited space and technology. But now, in our new place, I have a kitchen island, which means that my cooking videos are about to be so much better. And I'm very excited for how much more space I have for the actual cooking videos. So once I get through the backlog of videos that I have recorded, we're going to start seeing some much better footage coming out of this new place. Honestly, it was one of the main things I was looking for when we were looking for a place. Was I need a place that has an island so that I can shoot better cooking videos. Anyways, back to mayo. On hot dogs, I was expecting this to be the biggest issue because I know that there were a few things like that I had grown up with that weren't super like accepted or like I guess quote unquote normal. That being like spaghetti sandwiches, like spaghetti on white bread. Like that's how you used cold spaghetti. Growing up was you just slap that on some white bread with some mayo, and boom, you got yourself a spaghetti sandwich, and it was pretty dang good, right? Well, personally, I did not grow up eating that because as a child, I could not physically consume an onion or consume noodle. Like straight up as a baby, my mom tried to feed me noodles, and the minute the like texture of a noodle would touch my tongue, gagging, couldn't do it. Like even as a baby, you know, not even just like the taste, just like the texture of a noodle on my tongue. And so, anyways, that's how my siblings grew up, was eating spaghetti sandwiches, and I started eating that after I turned 18 and grew up and actually started eating noodles. So I was expecting mayo to be a problem, but I was surprised to find out that it was actually the angles. I think I already said that. Man, I had this very well structured way to talk about this specific point, and I have like up, down, left, and righted it, and now I don't even know if I've made my point accurately. So we're gonna wrap this up. Mayo on hot dogs, that's a yes. You should have mayo on hot dogs. I don't know why it's so gross. It has to be a Midwestern thing that made its way over, right? But I'm telling you, I don't understand why the thought of that is so insane. We put mayo with every other meat. Why is it that hot dogs are off limits? You put mayo on your hamburger. You put mayo, every breakfast burrito, right? Is probably going to have, every white person breakfast burrito is going to have mayo on it. Every sandwich ever has probably some type of mayo or aioli on it, which is just mayo with extra steps. So why? I just don't understand why it's hot dogs is where people draw the line that mayo cannot be with this meat. It makes no sense, and nobody ever has a reason. They're just like, ew, no, please explain to me what it is about a hot dog that mayo can't go on it, but mayo could go with literally every single other meat that's ever existed, and no one has any problem with it. Please, somebody tell me. Okay, that's about it. So I'm going to leave you off with a podcast recommendation, and that is going to be Colt in Connecticut. We know that I really like, or really am interested in Colts, i.e. our Colts series. Did I do a series? I can't remember if it was a series or a single episode. Anyways, I did a Colts special episode, and this one is every episode is about this Colt in Connecticut from different people's perspectives and point of views. And I particularly listened to the episode titled Faith, Part 1, because my fiance's name is Faith, and so that one caught my eye. And it just tells these horrible stories of survivors of the cult, and what they experienced and what it was like to be inside of it or a victim of it. And very well done, very interesting. Highly recommend it. There are a lot of episodes that you can check out. So that is my recommendation for the week, Colt in Connecticut.